New seasons, new gear. Show the world what it means to be a fan in 100% authentic gear. Fanatics. Officially licensed everything.
Get ready to dive into a new world of online shopping with the Fins Tailgate. Whether you're a die-hard sports fan or just looking for the latest fashion trends, we've got you covered. With a wide variety of products from your favorite sports teams to stylish accessories and home decor, we're your one-stop shop for all things tailgate. Our easy-to-use website and hassle-free checkout process make shopping with us a breeze. Plus, with frequent sales and discounts, you won't want to shop anywhere else. So come on in and join the party at the Fins Tailgate, your new go-to destination for all things tailgate.
Good flipping afternoon, everybody. It is another episode of afternoon/evening color commentary. If you're joining us all across the country, then it is still afternoon color commentary. And I am your host, Culler, providing the commentary. Welcome, 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 everybody. Appreciate y'all coming. I know it's been a while. I have been absolutely in just an excruciating amount of pain for the last couple of weeks, especially with the energy level that I put out for Sunday's game going to the game. So I'm probably going to be taking it easy until Dallas, I'm thinking, before I go to another game. But I'm here. I've been wanting to talk to you all about it. Today's show, what if projections, what if statistics and probabilities and all this stuff were a person? What would they say to everybody about our football team and our chances to win, overall and also Sunday night? Well, they don't have a voice. They're not a person. So I'm going to provide that voice today for them. So today's show, if projections were a person, we will be getting into that. First, we'll getting into some news, some commentary on some things that have been going on, injury reports, that kind of stuff. In the meantime, make sure you all are liking and sharing. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you know when all this great content goes live. As the season's been rolling out, everybody's been kind of pulled in 500 different directions. So make sure you're hitting the notification bell. That way you're notified when one of us pops in like today. El Capitan doing the film breakdowns. Make sure you're catching him. He's dropping another one. Might have already dropped it for members. Which reminds me, make sure you're becoming a member if you want to support the channel. You can do it for as low as $3 a month. Show your support. Get the early content. Get some cool emojis, plus more to come. And we appreciate those who have already joined us. Of course, you can catch Ali. We'll be back in action tomorrow morning with Top of the Tailgate. Ali put on a great tailgate Sunday at the game. I mean, he hosted basically, did all the cooking. You know, I don't blame him for being on a little hiatus. He had put out a lot of energy Sunday, and we appreciate that. It was such a great time. Probably biggest showing we've had yet, exclusively for the Finns Tailgate for TFTG, and we appreciate you all that came. Joe Rist came out, Kyle Roberts, a couple other people, Pam. I know I'm forgetting people, but you know who you are. Adam S. Kahari was there. Yeah, it was great. Great time, man. You know, so, and, you know, Ali did every bit of the cooking, took care of the whole thing, set up shop, broke it all down. So shout out to him. And I will be joining him in the morning with Top of the Tailgate, as well as providing you some afternoon color commentary. And then you got Shake Money with the drive time on Wednesdays, Smoke Lounge Fridays, and of course the Rabbit Dolphin Lewis, along with KP coming in with the fantasy show on Saturday mornings at 11. He's been running the TFTG Fantasy League. Make sure you're catching up to date with what's going on there. Crypto on Mondays and Thursdays. I think he went Tuesday this week, but yeah, it happens. Busy day too. And then, of course, you got the OG Tonk back with TMI Tuesdays. Definitely TMI. Coming at you at 9:30 on Tuesday nights, trying to keep it on the rails while we try to steer him off. And if you want to support the channel in other ways, you can hit us up on Cash App, $, the Finns Tailgate, or Venmo, the Finns Tailgate, as well as super chats and super stickers and the memberships that I alluded to earlier. Plus, you can go to TFTGnetwork.com. That is TFTGnetwork.com for all TFTG content, Miami Dolphins stuff, league-wide stuff, plus the shop. Bookmark it, make it your homepage so you can get to all of our content wherever it may be. Sorry, phone call just threw me off. And of course, as I mentioned in the promo, you can catch, wait, what's going on here? Why isn't that? Oh, there it is. You can use the link in the description below for Fanatics. Go over there and get all your officially licensed gear for all the major sports leagues. Let them know we sent you. After that, you can take your mini helmet that you get over there, take it right over to Backroom Collections, have them customize it for you, make a nice little visor for it, whatever you want. Different colors. They do all that stuff there at Backroom Collections. Use hashtag TFTG for 10% off with them. And to keep you up while you're doing all that shopping, make sure you're hitting up Dubby Energy Drinks. Shake Money has reviewed the starter pack with all the flavors that come with it, and he does a good job letting us know how it tastes and all that. Check out his reviews. Use the link in the description below, as well as code TFTG at checkout for 10% off your first purchase there. I think that just about almost covers everything. So we will start by shouting out some people in chat. Let's see here. What little banner do I want to put up today? There we go. That one will work. Okay, so who we got in chat today? First one in chat was Banana. Banana. Dragon ass today. Been up since 4 a.m. Need your energy to put. I'm trying. I'll try to give it to you. We'll go a couple hours here, probably. We'll get you through, Banana. Just take it easy in traffic. John Featherland, how you doing? Looks like, oh, that was me that posted that one. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, how you doing? Flava J, another member. Duke Tomlinson, how you doing? New Attitude. How you doing, New Attitude? Good to see you, man. Adam Sadowski. And then you got Michael K masquerading as the Suicide Hotline. Well, I don't even know what he's talking about. You don't even like that guy. What do you got him in your handle? Ryan AP, how you doing, Ryan? Aquavision, as always, good to see you. And then Josh Allen is the next Carson Wentz, another Buffalo fan. You got Bill's fake crowd noise in here. Who is the real MVP? Chef Jew, ambassador of the community. Make sure you're hitting up Chef Jew for his catering business. I don't have the meme, the ad meme, so I otherwise I'd show it. But yeah, Chef also runs a catering business in South Florida. Make sure you're hitting him up for all your catering needs. Dan Green, how you doing? Of course, G, still on the clock. Appreciate y'all coming and listening to my dumbass. Mudbone, how you doing? Mudbone's up in this piece. Mudbone's been spot on lately with the takes. I have to say, I've been agreeing with Mudbone lately. But anyway, a little bit of news. If I could pull this page back up. Let's see here. Yeah. So 4 of our starters turned back up to practice today, according to Omar Kelly, posted about 4 hours ago. The Dolphins had 4 of the team's starters return to practice Thursday as the team continued preparations for Sunday night's nationally televised game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Cornerback Xavier Howard and center Connor Williams, who are both nursing Groen's injuries, and fullback Alec Ingold, who has been nursing a foot injury for the past 2 weeks, all were at practice. Kendall Lamb, the offensive lineman who has replaced Teron Armstead as the starting left tackle for 4 of the 6 games, returned to the team after missing practice Wednesday to handle a personal issue. Well, positive vibes for whatever personal issue that is, Lamb. Appreciate you coming back to practice. And let's see here. What else does Omar have to report? However, linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel, who leads the team with 4 sacks, wasn't spotted during the media viewing period during Thursday's practice. His status likely will be clarified later in the afternoon when the injury report comes out, but Van Ginkel was not on Wednesday's injury report. According to a Wednesday post from his wife's social media account, his absence appears to be family related. So that sounds like that's solved. I guess one of his looks like her post reads, "It's tough to see your kids hurting. Thankful they seem to be on the mend." So it looks like they just had a little bit of medical issue with a family member. Prayers to little. I guess it's Little Van Gink. The return of Xavier Howard, a 4-time Pro Bowl selection, could be a key factor in the game because the Eagles feature the best receiver duo Miami likely will face all season in A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, who have combined for 70 receptions, which they have turned into 1,005 yards and 4 touchdowns. Howard, who has a 76.5 opponent passer rating when targeted this season, is Miami's best defender in the secondary. That passer rating is the best in Miami's secondary, which has the NFL's 6th worst passer rating at 98.9 for opposing quarterbacks this season. If Howard doesn't play against the Eagles, Miami could be forced to use one of the team's backups, Justin Bethel, Perry Nickerson, or rookie Cam Smith, in a starting role. The Dolphins also could activate Nick Needham off the pup. He's practiced for the past 2 weeks, but defensive coordinator Vic Fangio hinted that he might need more time coming back from the Achilles injury he suffered last October. Wait, Nick? I don't know if he superimposed Nick onto Ramsey there, but anyway. Connor Williams has been nursing a groin injury for the past month. He missed the second game of the season last Sunday, and the Dolphins are committed to letting his groin injury heal so it won't impact his performance in the final months of the regular season and the playoffs. But it appears they were testing out the injury Thursday. If Williams doesn't play this week, Eichenberg likely would start his 3rd game at center. Last week, Eichenberg redeemed himself by playing a solid game, making a significant improvement from his dismal performance in Miami's 48-20 loss against Buffalo. According to Wynn, it's Eichenberg's leadership that has helped the offensive line settle in, becoming one of the NFL's top-performing units this season. He's getting us in the right position at the right time because a lot of times we get different things sometimes during the game that we may not have seen or we haven't seen in a while, Wynn said of Eichenberg. His ability to put us in the right spot has been good. That's coming from a teammate. So get over there and check out Omar Kelly at SI. Good article. And yeah, I mean, what do y'all think about what Wynn says about Eichenberg and his organizational skills? Apparently, maybe we all try to figure out why we keep a guy like this around. Everybody's up in arms, but there's more to it. There's much more to it than just what we see. I'm not trying to cape for the man. I'm just saying his own teammate is. So what can I say? It's not, I'm not the one that put the words in Wynn's mouth. So yeah, I'll definitely get with Ms. Finns on that, Chef. Absolutely. So analyzing the Fangio factor, little article by Mr. Poopart, Alan Poopart over at SI Fan Nation for the Dolphins 3 hours ago. And of course, this is referring to the time that Fangio served as consultant for the NFC champions last season. What's up, Shake Money? What's up, V21? V21 says, imagine giving credit to an O lineman and not mentioning his blocking. Yeah, right. I got you there. I get it. Yeah, gotta give something, I guess. But so Vic Fangio makes no secret. This is Alan Poopart writing. Vic Fangio makes no secret of his affinity for the city of brotherly love. And he'll be back in Philadelphia this weekend when the Miami Dolphins take on the Eagles in the Week 7 Sunday night game. The veteran defensive coordinator will be trying to stop an offense he was hired to help with his insights before the last Super Bowl. A job he obviously did very well considering the Eagles scored 35 points, albeit in a 38-35 loss. And for those who might think the Dolphins would have an advantage because of inside knowledge Fangio might have gained last year, when he also had frequent unofficial conversations with then defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, the man himself was quick to dispel that notion. Asked what kind of advantage the Dolphins might have because of his familiarity with the Eagles, Fangio said, not a lot, because I was giving them more information than they were giving me. It's kind of the way it turned out. So if there's any advantage to be had by me being there last year, it's in their favor, end quote. Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni kind of said the same thing last week. We didn't give him all the secrets, Sirianni said. I asked him for his help. He was giving us information and us not giving him info. Obviously, when he was around last year during the end of the season, that was a unique opportunity to have a guy help us look at some different things the way a defensive coach's perspective on it. Then Jonathan Gannon might being able to bounce some things off of him and me being able to bounce some things off him as the head coach. So I really value the relationship that I was able to develop with Coach Fangio. Great person, great football mind. We know we're going to have our hands full with any Vic Fangio coach defense, which we have obviously this week. Huge Phillies fan. I'm hoping is a little distracted, but a real good person, really good coach. Value the friendship we have at the time we spent together last year. It's babble from Sirianni, I guess. As Fangio mentioned Thursday, his professional coaching career began in Philadelphia as an assistant for the Philadelphia Stars of the short-lived USFL in 1984. A native of Dunmore, Pennsylvania, Fangio enthusiastically pointed at a reporter wearing a Philadelphia Phillies hat at one of his recent media sessions. I grew up a Philadelphia fan in all sports, diehard, used to when the Phillies were in the West Coast and it'd be late at night and I had the transistor radio in my bed and listen to the game on radio, Fangio said. So I was a diehard Phillies fan and Eagles fan growing up and got my first job in pro football there. So Philly is a special place to me. That doesn't, however, mean the game is more meaningful to Fangio, at least based on what he says, nor the fact that it matches two of the five teams tied for best record in the NFL at 5-1, facing each other in primetime. Fangio says, no, it's one of 17. It's no different than our UFC opponent. So the weight on the schedule and standings is the same. It just happens to be being played on a bigger stage Sunday night. But in the final analysis, it's game 7 of 17. What's up, Lou? Good afternoon, Shaquille. How you doing? Shalom to you too. Raphael Courtnight coming up in here. Lewis is up in here now. Uh-oh, it's getting crazy now. Y'all better watch yourselves. Lewis is going to hold you account. One more concern to Fangio is dealing with is a very talented Eagles offense, one that features perhaps the best offensive line in the NFL, has two great wide receivers, and also has a borderline unstoppable short yardage play, the famous tush push or brotherly shove. And then Fangio goes on to talk about scheming for that and all that. Get over there and read the rest of the article. What do y'all think about the effect that Fangio being over there has or has not? I don't really think anything like that really matters anyway. The game is still played by the players ultimately. So that's what it's going to boil down to. Who protects the football? game may come down to turnovers or special teams. I mean, these games usually tend to come down to that. So apparently, Mike McDaniel said some things yesterday, I guess, that were kind of just abrupt and curt when it came to asking about whether Tua is a system quarterback, I believe. And Omar Kelly wrote about it a few hours ago. Kelly says McDaniel justified in defensive offense in Tua. Now, I didn't see this video. I'm going to actually pull it up. We're going to watch it together because I haven't actually watched yesterday's presser or whatever was said. I was going to watch that with you guys here in a second before we get to the topic of the day. If projections were a person, what would they say? But anyway, so Omar writes, when an offense is on pace to set an NFL record like the Miami Dolphins are, outsiders and sometimes insiders begin debating about who deserves the credit for its success. It is the second-year head coach play caller who is earning the genius label that was attached to Mike McDaniel's name when he was hired in 2022. Is it all-pro receiver Tyreek Hill and his cast of speed demons who post the fastest miles per hour speeds for all ball carriers each week? Or is it the once beleaguered quarterback Tua, who redeemed his reputation as a quarterback on the rise under McDaniel's tutelage and with Hill as his primary weapon? Upon the suggestion that some think many quarterbacks would excel in Miami's offense, as one report put it, McDaniel gave a passionate response that was largely in defense of his quarterback, who is viewed as a front runner for the NFL's most valuable player honor. Quote, "I'm about to push this podium over," McDaniel said Wednesday, interrupting the question. "My answer to that would be who the F cares, because it's a team." McDaniel continued, "We're working together, and I know one thing. I've coached a long time. I haven't seen people do what our guys do," McDaniel said about the Dolphins' offense, which ranks first in just about every offensive statistic after 6 games and is on pace to challenge some of the NFL all-time yardage records. We're going to watch that in a minute, so I'm not going to continue to read the rest of the article and what he's saying, but apparently Mike McDaniel is finally blowing up and taking issue with just who is responsible for our success. So I look forward to watching that here as soon as I can find it. So that's kind of the news for right now. As far as anything that's really worth talking about at the moment. Let's see here. Where do I go? I'm here and here. Miami Dolphins. I got to push this button here and pull this lever there, and I might be able to pull up the video. Yeah, that's my own content, YouTube. That's right. It's my own content. All right, where are you at, Miami Dolphins? There we go. All right, I'll pause that because I don't want it yelling in my face. Videos. Oh, we got a couple videos here that are cool. Let's see. Christian Wilkins, Mike McDaniel. Where's it at? Are they holding it back from us, people? They hiding it? Where'd it go? Locker room speech. Inside the locker room. Media availabilities. There it is. Coach McDaniel meets with the media. All right, let's pull this booger up. Let me know if you can't hear it all right and all that. Share screen. Push that button. Turn this dial. And I think we're going to have it here. Let me add it. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Let me know if you can't hear it.
A question for you guys. You guys noticed the unbelievable weather that we've been having here in Miami?
Oh, I have.
So your windows have been open. You've been able to feel the breeze.
They have.
Right? Well, your window is not the only one that's open. Confirmed.
Great.
So we good? Done? No. So we'll start Jalen's window today. He it's a testament to him that we're doing that, and we will rule him out for Philly, but excited to just had him break the team down. Excited to have him back.
Yeah, anyone on the 53 who won't be able to practice today for non-rest reasons, like Davian with the groin or anybody else?
Oh, I'm so, especially with a team like ours, like that's hard for me to open end because I'm more focused on the guys we do have. I'm trying to. I think. I can't even remember. Connor will not be practicing day to day. X's day to day won't be practicing. And yeah, that week to week issue is still the exact same in terms of the swelling kind of calmed down, and we kind of got a better lens into it, so that will be we're talking weeks timeline, not days, but not season ending at all. So that's the state of the union there.
What kind of timeline is Jalen Ramsey on to returning? Like, how many weeks do you think?
Oh, you used the word. You guys have heard. You guys just think that I'm BSing, but we don't give necessarily timelines. We gave from the onset, Jalen, we gave kind of like a rough target, but everybody's body's different. He called his shot early. I think the day that he got injured, that he was going to beat whatever the target would be. He certainly did that. That being said, this is the first time that he's going to be playing football. So we'll acquire information, but very optimistic it will be sooner than later. Obviously, because we're starting the window that is open.
Like a lot of times.
Interesting. So he's kind of basically just saying, yeah, he is ahead of schedule. With he doesn't want to say that like definitively, but look, the first target he exceeded and this and that. But I think he was also saying there, look, it's the first time he'd be playing football. There's other stuff that needs to be done to get him football ready besides the injury itself. And that's just going to be a matter of Jalen Ramsey. Are you, in my personal opinion, I think Ramsey is one of those transcendent type of players that is pretty much could fall out of bed and do what he does. I mean, he's just a naturally gifted football player, so, I think that McDaniel just doesn't want to say that. Like, you got to expect time even after he's in, even after he's 100% and starts practicing and all that heavily, getting in a game, all that, you still gotta, there's still time involved. But he's admitted, he is ahead of schedule, and it seems like McDaniel's not afraid to embrace that, despite what Michael K is trying to claim in the chat. I don't think it's a desperation move at all. We got him over here for a reason. We expected and wanted to have him from game one. Michael K., are you telling me that our defensive stats would look the way they do right now if we didn't have Ramsey from game one? Come on. We were expecting to have him. We have been overcoming that when people talk about you got to overcome injuries and you got to overcome the obstacles of an NFL season and all that. Well, we hit one right out the gate and lost one of our star cornerbacks. And we're 5-1. I don't see anything as rushing anybody back. I think he's going to be back. If he's rushed back, it's only because he rushed back, and got it right. It's still going to be right. I mean, everybody heals at a different rate. And I know for myself, being half the athlete he is, but more of the athlete than anybody I know, I heal pretty quick too. I had a shattered wrist that healed a lot quicker than the projections gave it. And I was back in the, 90s. Medical technology is a hell of a thing, guys. It really is. The guy's taking care of his body his whole life. He is at the apex of what a human could hope to achieve in recovering from an injury like that. Why is that odd? I mean, you could argue that the word sport comes from a root words that similarly mean demigod. So yeah, that's what these players are, bro. Without trying to glorify them. But anyway, let's move on. I don't want to dive deep into Michael K. Good question from where was it? MJW125, welcome to the chat, says, good afternoon, Culler. Do you think the Dolphins make a move at the trade deadline? I can't imagine we don't. I mean, if you're trying to make a run, even if we make a move that doesn't seem like it has anything to do with what we need, I would imagine we'd make some kind of move. There's going to be too many good players available considering how many bad teams there are this year. So I can't imagine we wouldn't. I don't necessarily think it's going to be somebody that anybody expected or a position that anybody expected us to need. But we did cut some money off of Jason Sanders out of the blue to acquire another $1.5 million. So, maybe we are I'd imagine we'd have to be gearing up to do something. I don't know what that would be, though. I mean, obviously, we need help at middle linebacker. At tackling in general. We need, offensive line help, obviously, for depth purposes. Those are the two real glaring problems for us, which I will be getting into shortly, are not as glaring as everybody thinks. Even when you look at the Buffalo game, as embarrassed as we got, you look at the stat line for the game, and it's all pretty much even up to the point where you look at the turnover column. We had 2, they had 0. Now, I know people would say, well, 2 turnovers shouldn't translate to a 28-point, deficit, but it can when you're talking about being in somebody else's house. Plus, you got lack of effort in general on defense. Couple that with the turnovers. Yeah, we gave that game to them, and when you give a game to somebody, you get embarrassed by 28 points in their house. I don't think it's an accurate representation of what we do and what we're capable of. And this notion that we get out bullied or we can't bully nobody, that is complete and utter bullshit. And I'm glad Stephen A. Smith, to his credit, finally called it out. Despite his co-host just imagining he didn't say what he said and still harping out that stupid, oh, we're a finesse team and we can't bully nobody and we get bullied. Oh, bullshit. Thank you, Stephen A. Smith, for saying what you said, who was quick to point out that, what we did last year against Buffalo in their house, one of the games being a wild card playoff game with a third string backup quarterback, 7th round draft pick. So miss me with this, we can't bully nobody in the trenches bullshit. Did we get out bullied that day? Did we not bully nobody that day 2 weeks ago? Yes, I agree. We got bullied. But don't this notion that we can't bully somebody or we can only bully the bad teams, bullshit. We'll find out what the Eagles think about our capability of bullying people Sunday night. And if we can't, then we get blown out. Then we are what we are. How's that different than any other year? I'm just tired of this nonsense. We can't bully somebody. As if we get blown out every single, you look at our losses last year, not one of them was a blowout. You can, Jets put up a 40-bird. Yeah, after the freaking floodgates opened up. Same with Buffalo, no effort. We're going toe-to-toe with them until we didn't. And they kept doing their thing and we didn't. I don't know. It's bullshit. Anyway, I'll let Mike McDaniel get back on here.
With knee injuries, a player's confidence in that knee is so important. What does Jalen tell you about how the knee feels, pain, mobility, things like that?
Well, see, Jalen couldn't control the injury that he had, but what he has controlled is how he's addressed the injury. So that day, Hal, that you're like, man, I'm not waking up today, hit the snooze. Like literally every single day, he has not done that. So he's as confident as one can be before his first practice, and all of the stuff that he's done on the in terms of all the work with the strength staff and the training staff. It's the exact way you'd expect Jalen Ramsey to be. He's has a lot of God-given talents, but I think his greatest talent is how unique of a deliberate worker, teammate. I've never been around a guy that had this long of a rehab that hasn't missed team meetings or hasn't missed practices. He is finding a way to affect the team in one way, shape, or form. So his confidence will be as high as one can be in this stage. I can tell you that much because of his work.
As an amateur schedule reader, there are 3 weeks before the bye. Do you see a chance Jalen plays after the bye, or?
I got 1 day, and that's today. Yeah, I think it's fair to say there's a chance. I'm just not gonna. Case in point, the target date I didn't share because I don't know. So I think it's fair to say, but you've got to take it 1 day at a time with those type of things. But I would say that I'm cautiously optimistic.
Mike, you said he hasn't missed meetings or anything. When he's on the sideline, he's pretty animated. I remember him on one occasion going to celebrate and jumping. It was pretty early on. Are you amazed by
Yes, all of it. He literally called a shot. He called a shot, and we're in the business of doing everything that we can right by a player. So we're, he's a member of this team, doing right by him. We're fair, but not aggressive on target dates. And he told us before his surgery that he was going to, he kept telling me he was an alien. So I'm starting to believe him. And that's a cool thing for such a well-established player, at the top of his game, for the whole team to see on how you attack things. And it's why when the time comes and he is on the field for an NFL game, we've talked about it at length, it'll be the most fun that he's ever had playing football, simply because of the perspective that you get when it's taken away and you have to diligently work minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, to put yourself in position for the opportunity for the window to be open to practice today.
Is he cleared for all movements, including contact? I know you typically don't try to have contact in practice.
No, he's not cleared for movements of receivers running past him. Not cleared for that. So just so you guys know, no, he, you can't really, I think at this stage, one of the big things that you learn in OTAs as a team, for you to be successful, you have to really, really be mindful and deliberate with how you practice without pads in general. So, I think our team does a good job of that in general. And so there, if he wasn't, especially as a defensive player, if you're not, fully cleared medically, we can recreate stuff on the side, but we can't allow him to practice. So he is cleared for all movements besides offensive touchdowns versus him.
So yeah, and by the way, real quick, don't mistake what I said. I'm not saying we're not a finesse team. Excuse me. Finesse doesn't necessarily mean weak or equal soft, or that you can't bully somebody in the trenches. Now, if you're talking about not being able to bully somebody and being soft, I would put more of that on our defensive side of the ball than the offensive side of the ball. Finesse or not, it's exclusive to whether you can hit somebody in the mouth or not. We've been able to hit people in the mouth on offense, even being a finesse team. It's defense where we don't seem to be able to do that in the big stage against a team like Buffalo, or for that example.
Where is Tehran and Devon A-Chain kind of in their recoveries, and the thought of having Ramsey and those two guys come back for the second half of the season? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think they're really both. I mean, Armstead has a glow in his eye, like he has high expectations for his return, and he's just really, really proud of. This is so much. It's all the players' team, in particular. Being a captain for 2 years and really, showing, just being such a big part of that offensive line room. I think he's feeling really confident and ready to contribute when that time comes. And no setbacks with Devon as well. He's been doing great and has high spirits. It's like he's become a second or third year player already with his attention in meetings and stuff. So that's awesome. Yeah. I really like the players that we roll out every Sunday, particularly on the defensive side. There's a lot of guys that have gotten opportunities, and we'll get, from Jalen's absence and whatnot, that prospect of them coming back, I think everyone's fired up for, because you want, You want competitors, and when you get healthy competition within a position group or on a side of the ball where people want to match good plays, and I think the residuals are outstanding. So that will be an exciting day. But it's not like I'm longing for it. I very much love the competitors that we have, and think that I think the world of all the guys that have been able to rise to the occasion and step up. So that's the nature of football, as you can tell. The whole league deals with those things. So we're not unique in that circumstance.
Can I get an update on Jeff Will? Can we get an update on Jeff Wilson?
Someone is here.
You mean? What do we got?
He
You see my shoes, by the way?
Yeah, I did see your shoes. Yeah, he practiced last week. By all reports, did pretty well, but then wasn't active. Was downgraded on Friday. Setback or just no roster spot? And what are your expectations for him?
Yeah, it was there was no setback. It was more big picture, whole team limited roster on game days. You have to take it up with the league on that one. But he's doing great, and he was ready to go. And really, I've never had issues with players being chomping at the bit and then being like, all right, you have to wait. Like, it just means he's going to be hungrier. I think we'll all benefit for when that time comes. But we again, all these decisions, they're not independent of each other. It is all encompassing, and your football team has different needs on a week-to-week basis, depending on your opponent and just depending on the actual health of your roster as well. So factoring in all those things, that was the major decision. I kind of, I actually thought that we would get to see him play, but as the week progressed, the numbers didn't really ration out appropriately. So it has nothing to do with his ability or ableness. If that's
Mike, from a raw
That's called a wealth of riches. You don't need him for Carolina, and you don't really have the roster spot. He's healthy, but probably needs some more time anyway to relax. Yeah, that's good. That's first world problems right there.
from a game planning standpoint, how much extra work is it for you and Frank when you have several high-end non-quarterbacks on the opposing team whose health is in question? Obviously, Slay, Lane Johnson, Jalen Carter this week. Does that add extra work for you and Frank in terms of discussing scenarios of what we would do if each guy plays, if each guy doesn't play, from a game plan standpoint?
It can generally it factors in, but if the majority of your thought process is based on what opponent is playing, I found that, and we can all believe that, like, there's consistent techniques and fundamentals and scheme that we're going against. And you want, our guys are a bunch of competitors that want to go against the best. That's why they're so excited for a non-conference game, because you have a team in the Super Bowl that was fresh off their first loss in a 6-game season, so they're eager for that. But in terms of, I think it would be doing a disservice to that team and you'd be setting yourself up for a strong, humbling experience if you over dwelled on individuals. That is a team that plays as a team, that they've dealt with injuries before. They'll continue to deal with them, and if they have that jersey on, it seems like they all have the same intent, which is cool form of football that they enjoy playing together and are super aggressive, and physical while doing it. So I wouldn't say that would lose sleep on any individual, because I think that's doing a disservice to the whole unit.
There are some folks who believe that many quarterbacks in this scheme, with you as the coach, with Tyreek and Jalen, maybe even many quarterbacks would excel, would flourish, would be near the top of the passer rater leading MVP candidate. What, if any, pushback is there relative to, wait, no, hold on. Tua is a little
I'm about
different.
to push this podium over. My answer to that would be, who the F cares? Because it is a team. We're working together, and I know one thing. I've coached stuff a long time. I haven't seen people do what our guys do, and I mean, in a lot of experiences, to their credit, to their ability and their commitment to their craft. Like, I know, we're as a teammate, we're all dependent on each other, and I'm not in any hurry to prove myself without those guys, because those are part of who we are, and to try to say it's this person or that person is kind of missing the point. It is um, a team working together, people working together, and myself, Tyreek Hill, Tua, cool. What if no one's blocking anyone? You know what I mean? Like, we're all connected in that way. That's why I think a lot of the guys, Tua's success is their success, Tyreek's success, Waddle's, Raheem's, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're all tied together. It's a journey that we're experiencing together. Somebody will get the statistics from it, but none of those statistics are worth anything if you don't have a full support from your players across the board, all 11, and then it goes down to the organization, and all those things combined. But I know this, our players run a lot of plays that I have a lot of history with, and it looks different, and that's not because that's because of hard earned work, or hard work and unbelievable ability. So don't try me on other players. I'm not trying to prove that.
Last question.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree with him. I mean, yeah, including Eichenberg, Crypto. That's right. I mean, whether he actually believes it or not, I don't know. But it seems like he was a little taken back by the question, because there has been the question on some play calling and what the intent behind some of it was. But other than that, I mean, yeah, you can't disagree with what he's saying there. I don't know why the guy had to even ask the question. It's kind of a moot point at this point. Take anybody out, and it probably doesn't go the same.
Mike, what is it about Philly's QB sneak that makes them so successful at it? And what have you seen a team really be as successful as they've been running that play?
Well, no. And it's kind of like their play, which I think what makes them so successful is a commitment to leverage and detail on something that a lot of people don't detail. I mean, shoot, they leaned into it before it was successful, detailing it up, and then it has success. And I'm a huge fan of things that are within the rules of football, that you can't stop. That's to their credit. That semantics, whether it should or shouldn't be, I just more respect and regard what goes into that. There's a lot of people that would love to convert 80 some percent of third or fourth and ones. I would love that. And they have a situation where their players have leaned into it. And if you don't like the play, you should try to stop it. A lot of people have, and it's a really hard thing to stop, which means they're really owning the finer details of the play. All right, thanks.
Which means don't let them get in third and short. That's what it means. So they have a big advantage there. They don't have to play to 4 to 3 down, to 4 downs like that. So good for them. But all plays were made to be stopped. So we're at the hour mark, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button. Make sure you're sharing. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes here in just a second. Appreciate y'all joining me this afternoon / evening. It is 6 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States in South Florida. Nice, warm, balmy evening. Cooling off, though. And I am glad to talk to every one of you today. Appreciate y'all being here. Stage is set Sunday night. I think you guys are right. But I really don't think that... Look, I've been looking at these projections, and this is what compelled me to do this show. Because everybody likes to, they put the moniker on me lately that I'm the stats guy. I'm the analytics guy. Look, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I hate analytics. I think they're garbage. I think if you're trying to base your decision making off analytics, you're going to fail in most ventures, especially football. There are too many variables involved in football for analytics to be used the way they are in a game like baseball. I mean, I'm completely honest with you guys. I can't stand analytics. I'm not a math guy. I don't really care, but I do understand what they actually mean to represent and how they can be looked at in a proper way. And that's why I bring them up all the time. And I'm doing this show to kind of try to express to people how they can be looked at, because the universe literally functions on probabilities. There's a virtually 100% probability that the moon is there when you're not looking at it, but you can't say it's 100% until you're actually looking at the moon. And so basically what it says is that there's a whole cloud of possibilities of where the moon might be when you're not looking at it. There's a super high probability that it'll be close to where it was at the last time you looked at it. And that's generally why it's still there, because it can be nowhere else. But until you actually look at it, there's a little cloud of possibilities of where that moon could actually be at. And when you look at it, that cloud shrinks into 1 point, which becomes 100% probability of where the moon is at. That is how the universe functions. That is how everything at the fundamental level of particles, that's how everything functions. That's called quantum mechanics. That's how it operates. Until you measure a particle and observe it, you only have a probability set of where that particle is. And it can be expressed as a cloud. They call that a wave function. And when the measurement is made or the observation is made, that wave function collapses to a single point of 100% probability. If you were to express it as a wave on a graph, it would be shown as a peak that gets steeper and steeper and steeper until it's a straight line up to a point of 100% probabilities. So when I'm bringing up the projections or the statistics or the probabilities in a 6-game sample size, let's say in this case, because that's where we're at, all I'm trying to do is express to people the current state of the waveform, the current state of the wave function. Because none of it is reality. None of it is 100% probability until the end of the season when it happens and it's observed. But right now, we're in a current state of a whole bunch of possibilities, a whole bunch of them. And a certain percentage of those possibilities are positive. And that's what you're saying when you say Team X has a Y percentage probability of achieving Z task. Look at it this way. When you can look at, so for instance, I'll start with this week's game projections. If you go to ESPN's Gamecast page for the Dolphins versus Philly, you will find that, let me actually pull it up real quick. You'll see, so I can show you all. Schedule. Miami, Philadelphia. Okay, that's just the one I want right there. Okay, so this is ESPN's Gamecast page, right? And as you can see, according to ESPN's analytics, we have a 58.5% probability of winning the game. The Eagles have a 41.2% probability of winning the game. Now, that would change minute by minute as soon as the kickoff happens. Okay. So this show is not about having people tell me why projections and stats don't matter. That's not the point here. This is not to say this is guaranteed to happen because the ESPN analytics say blah, blah, blah. No, that's not what it's saying. If you want a very analog way to think about this, there's 100 different ways a team could win this game. Right? Think of it like that. There's 100 different ways a team could win this game. What they're saying, what ESPN's analytics are saying, if they were a person, remember the title of the show, if projections were a person, this is what they would be saying, and I'm giving them voice. What they're saying is, if there are 100 ways to win this game, Miami has 58 and a half of them. The Eagles are working with 41.2 of them, of those ways to win this game. That's all that's saying. We still have to exercise and execute one of those 58 and a half different ways to win this game. If we fail to do that, then the Eagles will be able to use one of their 41.2% ways to win the game. That is why projections don't matter to reality. What this is saying is, given an equal level of execution by both teams, whether it be high execution or low execution, given an equal level of execution, This should be the 58.5 times out of 100 we should win this game. We have 58.5 different ways to win this game to their 41.2. That is all it means. Means nothing else. I've never tried to claim it means anything else. It's just a way to look at the current state of this game's wave function. Now, as the game goes along, that wave function will obviously change. It's a wave. It goes up and down. And in a wave function, when you're talking about collapsing to a single point, it actually spreads out and gets narrower and spreads out and gets narrower and then eventually collapses to a single point. And I want to illustrate this this way. Okay, I'm going to go back now to I don't know why it puts it on the Asian site every time I go to that page, but it's weird. Anyway, so I want to go back to the week we played Buffalo, which was week 4, right? Yeah. Oh, not Buffalo. That's not what I meant to do. I meant to go to Carolina. The game against Carolina. And this is why I thought I kind of giggle a little bit when people talk about being a little I mean, I was frustrated after the first quarter, being down 14-0. But squirming in my seat, no way, not even close. And I'll show you why. Remember this chart I was talking about? Okay? This is the graph form of that pie chart right here. Okay? Let me see if it'll let me flip it. I don't know why they have it directed that direction, but oh well. We'll deal with it. Okay, so at the beginning of the game started with a pie chart on this page, but it switches to a graph during the game. Some of you have seen this during college games. Okay. Now, when we started the game, this is at kickoff. This is actually after the first, because it's as far, the resolution is such with my mouse that I can only get it to, let's see if I can get it to kickoff. No, I can't. So it says 1st and 10 at the Carolina 25. So this is the first play of the game. Chuba Hubbard up the middle for 4 yards. Okay. Tackle made by Bradley Chubb and Christian Wilkins. At this point of the game, Miami was 88.8% to win the game. Now, obviously, nobody would argue with that given the level of opponent, even though you can still be trapped and lose, and that's the nature of a trap. I get all that. But we were 88%, 89% to win this game, right? Now, watch what happens as I go to different points of the game. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to the first time Carolina scored. Right there. We immediately dropped to 76.5% to win the game. We're still at 76.5% to win this game, even though Carolina has a touchdown on us already. Now let's watch this keep going, right? The longer time goes by that we don't answer back, the lower it drops. It keeps getting lower, okay? Keeps getting lower because more time is going by and we haven't scored. We haven't answered that touchdown, okay? We're all squirming in our seats. And then, boom, right there. You see that? 14-0 Carolina. And at that point of the game, we had our lowest probability, according to ESPN analytics. We were at our lowest point of probability to win the game. And we were still 51.1% to win that game. This is down 14-0. So forgive me if I, frustrated as I was, forgive me if I thought the second we scored a touchdown, the game was over. Because look, let's watch what happens when we do score. Look at this. Right here, we're 63% to win the game, down 14-0. Simply because we've got the ball at their 17-yard line. Because the analytics are saying, if they could speak, if they were a person, the projections are saying, Miami's offense is starting to click. We're starting to move the ball. What happens when Miami executes at a high level? They win this game 63% of the time when they're down 14-0. That's what it's saying. And as soon as we score, we go to 64.8%. They move the ball on us a little bit, so we go down to 59. Then for a second, for some reason, we jacked down to like 60. It's in between there. But then right here, when we tied the game, right there at the point we tied the game, we shot right back up to 78.8% to win the game. Number one, because we're back to tie ball game. We're back to 0-0. So why wouldn't it be the same it was roughly when it started? Then it trickles along there. Look, 80% to win the game, tied in the second quarter. And watch what happens when we take the lead. 87%. And it never falls below 84 after that. Look at this. As more time goes by, 8:27 left in the third. We've got the ball at their 26, and we got a touchdown lead. 91.4% to win the game. 2 touchdown lead. Never fell below 90% again to win the game. And then by the time the fourth quarter came, up 21, we were 99.5% to win this game. This was before the pick six. Watch what happens, though. You notice what happens? Nothing. There's the pick six. It went from 99.9% to 99.7%. And everybody was like, oh, pick six. Oh, no, they're back in the game. Oh, bullshit. They were never back in the game. And then we obviously, here's at which point, even at 42-21 with 36 seconds left, the projections can still not say 100% because the clock has not hit zero. This wave function, you see what the wave function looks like. That's what we're looking at on the graph. Collapsing is this bottom flat point. But it still hasn't collapsed yet. It's just a very, very straight line. It's like the peak is so slight you can't even see it. It looks like a flat line. But it's still 99.9% because there's 36 seconds left on the clock. So you can never say there's a 100% probability Miami would win this game at this point. Once the clock hits zero, boom, the wave function collapses to 100% probability that Miami is going to win this game. The game has been measured. The wave function has collapsed. It took 60 minutes of football to make the measurement. And this is what the condition of the wave was while the measurement was being made right here. And it finally collapses to a Miami win at 100% probability. That's how they work. That's all they mean. So thinking of it on those terms, especially when you go back here where we're at 51% to win the game because we're down 2 scores. At no point did we fall below 50% to win this game. It didn't matter what was going on the field. It's a 50% probability that we would still win. And it's because of the variables and factors that ESPN includes in their analytics to factor this out. It's track record, it's what we've put down, it's injuries, it's matchups, all kinds of things go into these into factoring these projections. And you can even see the way the game played out. And you remember from watching the game, this all matches your eye test. Every bit of it. So I just wanted to explain that before I get into the season-long projections here in a second, because it'll help to express why I think that, like, look, the projections are trying to say something. And if they were a person, I'd like to be able to try to speak for them, just like I've done just now with these projections for the game against the Panthers. Now, getting back to where we're at with the Eagles, currently, here's where it's at. This is the current state of the wave function. The more we do in the game positively, the higher that number goes throughout the game. The more time that goes by without anything happening, that number could change up and down based on that. And this is why I think that projections show what they do. Team stats. Total yards for the Miami Dolphins per game, 505.7. Eagles, 407. Yards passing for the Dolphins, 323.8. For the Eagles, 257. Yards rushing for the Dolphins, 181.8 per game. 150 for the Eagles. Yards allowed, which is where the Eagles have their chance. This is part of their 41 different ways they could win. Yards allowed, Miami 367 total, Eagles 319. That's pretty even. Pass yards are almost even. 252.5 for Miami, 254 for the Eagles. Rush yards allowed, 114.5 for Miami, 65.8 for the Eagles. The key for Miami would be to stop their running game, step up on defense, make tackles, get turnovers. Our key on offense would be to break through that 65.8 yards rushing allowed per game and make it more. Now, you could look at their quality of opponent on offense and probably explain a little why that's so low. Nobody's done that yet. We only do it for ourselves, but here you go. The Jets, the Rams, the Commanders, the Buccaneers, and the Vikings. That's who has tried to run on this football team. I don't even know who half their running backs are, except for the Jets. And the Vikings have Madison, I think. You also factor in the game against the Chargers for us. And you can say, well, no excuses, Culler, and I'm not trying to make an excuse. What I'm trying to do is explain why the wave function looks the way it does. Fangio, very first time commanding this set of guys on defense, allowed his defense to give up 250 some yards rushing. And the defense didn't do any favors for themselves stopping that. Now, we have gotten better. If the season had only been 5 games long and started with the Patriots, since we faced the Patriots, we're only giving up about 89 yards rushing per game. And I think that's one of the factors as to why that pie chart looks the way it does right now. We are outperforming them on offense, and our defense in the macro is roughly equivalent. Now, if you're talking about the rankings, it's a little different. And this is where we'll start with the power rankings. In defensive efficiencies, Philadelphia is ranked number 12. We are ranked 24th. Now, that's including the debacle in Buffalo and the Chargers game. Football Power Index. Now, this is not necessarily the subjective power rankings that they do on the NFL or on ESPN's site. This is the power index. So this is if projections were a person, this would be their power rank list. This would be the power rankings for stats and analytics if they were a person. And currently they have the Buffalo Bills at number 1 with a football power index of 9.0. San Francisco 49ers at number 2 with a power index of 8.7. And the Miami Dolphins number 3 with a power index of 8.0. That's up 1 spot, and the Chiefs are down 1 spot to the 4th spot with 7.8. 3 of those 4 teams are 5-1. Now the Dallas Cowboys come in at number 5 with a 5.4 football power index. The Baltimore Ravens, of all teams, come in number 6 with a football power index of 4.4 and a 4-2 record. Well, V21, you want to talk about the real choke job? If the analytics were a person, they'd be saying the Philadelphia Eagles at 5-1, number 7 in the football power index with a 4.2 at 5-1. Now, if you want to break it up on offense and defense, this is where it matters for the game. Let me actually switch pages here so y'all can look at it with me. Let me know if it's not big enough. So on offense, obviously the Miami Dolphins with an 8.8 power index were number 1. Buffalo Bills number 2, 49ers number 3, Chiefs 4, Chargers 5, and Eagles number 6. I'm sorry, Eagles are number 7. Wait, number 6 in offense with a power index of 4.4 to our 8.8. Now where it kills us is on defense, power rankings, power index. The Eagles have a minus 0.5 and we have a minus 0.7. Not really that much difference. I thought their defense was way better than ours. Look at that. They are considerably better on special teams. And I'm not going to get into strength of schedule and all that. We'll go average win probability rank adjusted for chance that an average NFL team would control games from start to end the way this team did given the schedule. Eagles and Dolphins are at the 5th and 6th spot. So things are all even there. Very evenly matched game when it comes to a lot of this stuff. So you look at the couple places where it's different, and those places favor us. Now, let me go to real quick the defensive stats, because I want to have a look at things like total yards per game given up. Philadelphia at 298. The Dolphins at 343. Why is that different? $367 and $319. Did they not update their own page? Oh, that's rushing. Hold on. Yeah, that's the same number. I don't know why they have it different here. The rushing yards match, but the total doesn't. Where's the discrepancy? Unless their chart didn't update. 229 and 232. Still close enough. The numbers are different, but it's still close enough. So they got two different numbers for the total yards and pass yards allowed, but the discrepancy is negligible. It's still the same spectrum, so it doesn't matter. Point still remains the same. Points per game given up. Dolphins at 26. Eagles at 20. Again, you can look at offenses they've played. Where did the other page go? There, I gotta get it off them ads. There we go. So now we're gonna go over to these projections because these are very interesting. So the San Francisco 49ers, I want to get to them first because here's the thing. If I were to list off San Francisco 49ers projections, most people would be like, yep, that makes sense. But yet when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, it's, oh, are they frauds? Well, I can tell you the last time that we had a good record, like 8-3, we weren't up this high in the projections. So it does factor out. And the same question could be asked about the Philadelphia Eagles right now, who at 5-1, out of all the teams that are 5-1 plus the Bills at 4-2, they're the lowest projected team in the NFL. San Francisco projected win-loss record is 12.9 and 4.1. That rounds to 13-4. They have a 99.4% chance to make the playoffs, 91.9% chance to win the division, 90.7% chance to make the divisional round, which means win a playoff game, 75.5% chance to make the conference championship game, 49.4% chance to make the Super Bowl, and a 28.4% chance to win it all. That's highest in the league. Both the Miami Dolphins and the Kansas City Chiefs, both have a projected win-loss record of 12.5 and 4.5. I don't know why they put the poor 4.5 there. It don't make sense because you can't have 13 and 6 if you round it. So if you round the first column, that's 13 wins for both teams. The Miami Dolphins have a 58% chance, 0.5% chance to win their division. I'm not going to go through the Kansas City Chiefs percentages down the road because they have no competition in their division. I'll get to them when we start hitting the conference championship numbers. Let me go ahead and sort for winning the Super Bowl because that puts it right where it's supposed to be at anyway. Chiefs have a 90% chance of winning their division, 80% chance of making the division. The Miami Dolphins have a projected 13-win record, 12.5 and 4.5, just like the Chiefs. 97.3% chance to make the playoffs. 58.5% chance to win the division. The Buffalo Bills, however, 93% chance to make the playoffs, obviously, but only a 40.4% chance currently to win the division. We're at 58.5, and that number grows by the week. It was lower last week, and they won. To make the divisional round of the playoffs, which also means to win a playoff game. Remember baby steps, right? Win a playoff game. The Dolphins are 75.5% probability to win a playoff game, to make the divisional round of the playoffs. Buffalo Bills, 67.3%. To make the conference championship game. I'll go back to including the Chiefs now. To make the conference championship game, the Chiefs are 54.2% chance to make the Lamar Hunt dance. Dolphins are 47.1% to make the conference championship game. So and the Buffalo Bills are 41.3. So again, if the projections were a person, that person would be telling you right now that they believe the AFC Championship game will be between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins. That's what they would be saying if they had a voice right now. To make the Super Bowl, the Chiefs are 29.6% chance to make the Super Bowl. 29.6. The Miami Dolphins are 27.5% probability to make the Super Bowl, while the Bills are at 23.4. to win the Super Bowl, it's so much more up in the air in the AFC than it is in the NFC. The Chiefs are only at 16.3% probability of winning the Super Bowl. The Dolphins, encouragingly, are 14.6% probability to win the game, the whole dance. And the Bills are 12.8%. So, again, if the projections were a person, they would be suggesting that the Super Bowl will be between the 49ers and the Chiefs, and that the 49ers will win it. If the Chiefs get knocked out of the playoffs before it matters, it will be the Niners and the Dolphins. And if the Chiefs get knocked out before it matters, the AFC Championship game would then fall to the Dolphins versus the Bills. If both the Miami Dolphins and the Chiefs fall out, the Super Bowl, according to the projections, if they were a person it could speak, will be the 49ers versus the Buffalo Bills. That's what these projections are saying if they could talk. Now I want to read one more projection line to drive home my point about this football game coming up for us. I get the statement aspect of the game. I get the fact that it's a big team on a big stage, primetime, Super Bowl runner-ups. I get it. I get that we have a hard time showing up, but apparently this team, the Eagles, as well as the Bills, have a hard time showing up against the bad teams. So what's the difference? Because ain't one of them beat a good team. And the projections are reflecting that. So going into this game, people have asked the question, is it a statement game? You know what? Given the fact that the Jets are proving to everybody week in and week out that they do have probably the best defense in the league. They are shutting down and quieting really powerhouse offenses in the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Buffalo Bills. Okay. There's no doubt, and they've been doing it now for 2 seasons. So there is no doubt about it anymore that the Jets have the ability to suppress these high-powered offenses. There's no denying it anymore. And the reason I'm saying that is because when I look at the game Sunday, if we were to squeak out a win or even blow them out, probably would tell me more if we blew them out or if we got blown out. But winning against the Philadelphia Eagles would tell me less than if we put up 34 points against the Jets defense. I would learn more about our offense and its consistency and its ability to put points up on good defenses and smack people in the mouth. It would tell me more to put up 34 points against the Jets defense than it would to win this game against the Eagles. Sorry, just the way it is. And the projections, if they could speak, are backing me up. And this is why. The Philadelphia Eagles are currently at 5-1. They lost to the Jets. You can call it fluke. You can call it whatever you want. They're 5-1, just like the rest of these teams. The 49ers with a projected 13 wins, and the Chiefs and the Dolphins with projected 13 wins. The Bills with their low projected 12 wins. You got to round up for them to get 12, 11.8 and 5.2. Dallas Cowboys with their projected 11 wins. Detroit Lions with their projected 12 wins, 5-1. Yet the 5-1 Philadelphia Eagles are only projected for 11 wins. Now you can point out remaining strength of schedule. Okay, I get it. They've got to play the Giants twice. They've got to play the Commanders twice, and they've got to play who else twice? I mean, come on, man. The Dallas Cowboys. Who could barely squeak out a win against the Chargers. Unless you want to come back to the table on how good the Chargers are. Despite their quarterback choking. Now, obviously, the Eagles still have a 95% chance of making the playoffs. Their division sucks. But to win their division, they're only 52% over the Cowboys' 46%. Whereas we're 58 over the Bills' 40. To make the division playoff, which means to win a playoff game, they're only 62.1%. We're 75.5 in a tougher conference. To make the conference championship game, the Eagles are 31.6% probability. Miami is 47.1 in a tougher conference. You see, the projections and all that, they don't factor in what we've done the last 30 years. They don't factor in what we feel about our team not being able to show up in the big game or beat the good teams or whatever y'all want to say. The projections don't factor that in. They don't care. This is what we have the capability of doing if we just do it. Doesn't matter what time of day it is, what time of night, what game, what opponent, it doesn't matter. And the more we win, the more this wave function gets closer to collapsing to 100% probability. The more time that goes by and the more we win. Last week, these numbers had us at 12 wins and 5 losses. Now we're at 13 wins and 4.5 losses. Because we keep winning. All we did was beat a crap team. Why would that have changed? Shouldn't Carolina have already been part of the 12? No, because they're expecting us to choke against a bad team just like everybody else has already. Buffalo twice. Well, I don't know. I guess Jaguars aren't that bad. But you didn't do much against the Giants. See, all that matters to these projections. The fact that you only put up 14 points on the Giants, that matters to these projections. Points per football minute. Now, getting back to the Eagles, who are in a tougher conference than we are, to make the Super Bowl is 13.5% chance. Miami has a 27.5% chance of making the Super Bowl. Can you guys believe that we're almost a 30% chance to make? We almost have a 1 in 3 shot of making the Super Bowl. Can you guys believe I'm saying that right now? Regardless of whether it happens or not, or whether this is all bullshit. It's not the other teams that have a 1 in 3 shot. It's us. We need to take that moniker. We need to take that freaking and put it on our chest and wear it as a badge by beating the Eagles this Sunday night. We need to solidify that. We beat the Eagles, and watch what happens to these projections. Watch what happens to this wave function and see what it could possibly collapse to then. They're still projecting 4 losses. We have 1, which means we got 3 more. If we lose to the Eagles and barely lose to them and make it respectable, these projections ain't going to change that much. We got blown out by the Bills, and we had 250 plus rushing yards put up against us by the Chargers. Yet here the projections remain that we have a better probability of making the Super Bowl than that very Bills team that whooped our ass. What's that tell you? It tells you the same thing that coming down from game 1, 250 plus yards rushing against us, to now we're giving up 114 per game. You know what kind of an improvement that is? And it's still not realistic, because if you want to throw that first game out as a mulligan, 5-game sample size, we're giving up 89 yards rushing per game, despite what people think about our trash defense. To win the Super Bowl, the Dolphins, as I stated earlier, are 14.6% probability of winning the Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles at 5-1, just like all the upper echelon teams, are only at 5.4% chance probability to win the Super Bowl. That's lower than the Detroit Lions. Yet I'm supposed to believe this is a test for us Sunday night. And this ain't a test for them to see where they're at after going to the Super Bowl and getting disappointed. Where are they at in their mindset? Can they recover from that? Are they a real deal team that would recover from that kind of loss? Okay? They ain't been doing nothing spectacular. I mean, come on. It's not as if, what? I mean, what do they do on offense for real? They have a couple advantages that we don't. They can run the ball with Jalen Hurts. They got a couple good caliber wide receivers, yes. And the tush push. Everybody make sure you're liking and sharing. Dislike if you agree with me, but share it out. Find out what other people think. Because I'm not, again, I hate analytics. I don't think they should be used to make any decision. None of this should be used to make a decision other than what you do at the trade deadline. To the question earlier, that's why I appreciated MJW's question, because what do we do at the trade deadline? Well, our people upstairs are looking at this chart right now to help decide what they do at the trade deadline. Make no mistake. They're not sitting here going, are we frauds? Are we fake? No, they're looking at these projections going, we need to start printing out flyers for the season ticket holders to get their dibs on playoff tickets. That's what they're using this list for. Y'all can be left behind all you want. I'm not worried about it anymore. If we lose, we lose. If we're the same old thing, we're the same old thing. Who gives a damn? That's not what, if the projections were a person, I'm gonna conclude this segment with this. If the projections were a person, you know what they'd be saying? If the projections were a person, they would be saying it is, in fact, the Philadelphia Eagles that are the pretenders, ladies and gentlemen. That's what the projections would be saying if they were a person. All we got to do is go into their house and prove it and shut their fans up. That's our biggest obstacle. Get some turnovers, take care of the ball, and we got it. There is no doubt in my mind that if we take care of the football and we don't turn it over, these projections are absolutely reality. And I guarantee you we take this game. And I'm going to make I've made my score prediction based on points per game from both teams. All of these projections, all of this, that, and the other. Vegas is spread, all of it. We're winning this game 31-24 by a touchdown in Philadelphia. And we're shocking the world because the world has to be shocked over this. I ain't shocked. I'm not going to be shocked. I will be more shocked if we get blown out because that means that this is all bullshit. And I'm not saying it's not bullshit. What I'm saying is that would seriously change the nature of the wave function. That's all I'm saying. I totally agree with that. Let's not change the wave function. Let's keep the wave function going just like it is so it collapses to this point. That's what you do on the football field. That's what the players have to worry about. They don't have to worry about all this shit. All they got to worry about is showing up and executing so that all this shit is real. If projections were a person, they'd be saying Philadelphia Eagles are pretenders. Now, I'll take questions from you all. I'm going to end the show on that. We're almost at the 2-hour mark. I appreciate every one of you for stopping by and listening to my take on how projections should be viewed and how they should be utilized and what they actually do, suggest or say or whatever. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Catch all of the great content here at the TFTG. At TFTG. The TFTG is redundant. It's at TFTG. Our flag looks like this. You can find it flying above Ali's truck on Sundays at Hard Rock. Make sure you're hitting up Fanatics, link in the description below. Dubby, great energy drinks, as well as backroom collections. And of course, check all of our great content out. El Capitan and the crew, Culler, Ali, Shake Money, Lewis, KP, Crypto, and the OG Tonk doing TMI Tuesdays on Tuesday night. You can hit us up on Cash App, $, the Fins Tailgate, or Venmo, the Fins Tailgate, as well as Super Chat, Super Stickers, and memberships. And to get this great TFTG flag and Cookin' Folk apron, like the one you see here, go to tftgnetwork.com, click on the shop link, check us all out, make it your homepage, bookmark the page. It's your central location for all things TFTG, Miami Dolphins, and the greater league that is the NFL. I am not going to be dropping a link for the panel because I'm not going to have a bunch of people come up here and argue with me about the validity of projections. That wasn't the point here. We'll start with the first question I see. Let's see. Here we go. Fins Rule. How's it going, Fins Rule? Did Miami open up cap space yesterday for a possible trade, and who would they trade for? I suggested they might. I mean, it was kind of odd to do a out of the blue move with your kicker to free up cap space. So it does kind of suggest that they're gearing up for something. I couldn't even imagine that it would be other than a linebacker or an offensive lineman, or even a defensive lineman. But any names, I couldn't even begin to speculate. I don't have anything brewing in the back, rumor mill wise. Eric Cooley says, who were a better opponent for the Dolphins then and now, the Bills of the 90s or the Bills of today? Definitely the Bills of the 90s. No, hands down, no doubt about it. They would just roll through everybody, and it didn't matter. There was no half the time I didn't even want to watch the games because I already knew what the outcome was going to be. What's up, Lewis? How you doing, man?
Color, I am so sorry for just popping in like this.
Oh, you're
but
okay.
I thought you would enjoy a little nugget I dropped in the TFTG Twitter chat, the group chat. If you would take a look, if you had some time, I don't know if you were
Sure.
at your computer. A nice
Sure.
little nugget about Liam Eichenberg that maybe we can talk about, Color. since people think that Liam Eichenberg is the worst offensive lineman this league has ever seen, it's amazing the stat I just found out about one Liam Eichenberg.
Well, we are gonna share it on screen right now. Live reaction, everybody.
I couldn't think of a better person to talk about it than you, Color. You have the floor.
Well, look at this. So this is according to who? We looking at IOL?
No, I believe it's Chris. I believe it's Chris Kaufman is who tweeted it out. I believe.
But I mean, who's the stat body? Like, who's the sanctioning?
Oh, you know what? That I didn't even look at.
Let's see real quick. Oh, interior O-line. So I don't know who this is from, but it's probably like PFF or somebody. I don't really know. So inside offensive line run block win rate rankings. And lo and behold, you have Mr. Liam Eichenberg at 10th ranked. Plays for the Miami Dolphins. Who are they?
Who are they, Color?
Okay, so he's got 49 wins on 64 plays. That's a 77% run block win rate. And he's been double team percentage 44% of the time double team. That's not the lowest. Joe Tippmann is the lowest at 27%. Connor McGovern at 34%. So 44% double team is by far not a low number. He's getting double teamed half the time pretty much that he's on the field. So amazing that they think Liam Eichenberg is trash so much that they feel the need to double team him half the time. Isn't that weird?
Exactly.
Why would you double team a bad offensive lineman?
You just said it. He's won 44 times out of 68.
And maybe it's because, maybe that's the reason. Maybe he's always been double teamed.
Double teamed. Absolutely.
50%.
Absolutely. Right.
Could that be why he's a bad offensive lineman?
Well, supposedly all these geniuses in our fan base have told me you can't find one rep where Liam Eichenberg ever wins. Right? He hasn't put one good play on film. Well, the metrics and all the numbers are showing you otherwise. I just thought you might enjoy this little nugget, Color. I thought you might like that.
Thank you for that. Now Duke is asking for the pass blocking stats, but this is not ours. So if that gentleman wants to post them one day, I'll certainly share them.
But how about that? Good old Liam Eichenberg. Wow.
So did I at least help give you a little understanding where I come from by bringing up the analytics and all that? Because I am not an analytics guy. I don't like having that title, bro.
Listen, I thought you were spot on, Color.
Because I trust my eye test way more than I do the analytics, bro. I'm with you all.
For sure. Listen, eye test, I usually use my eyes, but listen, I love the way you work with the analytics. I wouldn't take it as a bad thing, Color, when we say you're the stats guy, the analytics guy. I would take that as a positive. I think you do great work, and I think the way you just have presented it and executed it in this stream so far, I think you've been spot on. So
yeah, I mean, it's really a matter of what happens is when the analytics go opposite of what my eye test is showing me, that's when I start to get a little like queasy in the stomach. Like, nah, the analytics are showing this and that, but my eye test says we're playing really good. Maybe there's a reason, maybe we're not really playing good, and it's just masked by something. You see what I'm saying? But when you're playing good and you gotten good results and you got a good sample size and the projections are looking good, there's no reason it can't back up your optimism.
1000%. Yeah,
That's all I
absolutely.
use it to do. It's not like, hey, I'm gonna go put $1 zillion on the Dolphins beating the Eagles by 20. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about putting the 20 grand on the Dolphins to win the Super Bowl. That's not what I'm saying. I would never use analytics to make those decisions. But when I got Michael K in the building, or some of these other Bills fans that want to act like they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, well, hey, if projections were a person, they'd agree with me. I don't give a damn how many times we lost to big teams in big moments. Everybody does, and everybody has. When we start winning those games and being at the end, win all that, then nobody's even going to think about that. They'll just give it to us. Oh, well, they'll get it going on. Like the Chiefs. What the fuck have they really done this year? That grabs anybody's attention other than put a freaking pop star in the stands. I mean, come on, man. But they walk in with the credit. They walk in with their season already laid out for them, because one season is the same as the last. So, we're okay to crown them if they're, their point, whatever, they struggle against this or that team. Who cares? We're over here blowing teams out, the crappy teams out. And yeah, we have one debacle so far, 2 debacles. One of them was a win, the other a loss. Oh, well, I'm not using that to, no. The Eagles need to be worrying about us, not the other way around. And if we lose and we get embarrassed and all that, I will get in a time machine, come right back to this moment and say the same damn thing over again. I will say the same damn thing over again. We should have no problem beating this football team if we execute. If you want me to make a prediction as to whether we're going to execute or not, well, that's flip a coin for any team. I mean, let's be real here. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. I think Lewis lost his connection, but I appreciate the added content from Rabid Dolphin. He loves coming in, throwing the foam around. That was brilliant. That's going to set the stage for him. Because, he's right, man. He's right to hold people account, and, when they talk out of 5 sides of their mouth. But anyway, fins up, guys. Again, I got us winning this booger 31-24. I think we do it by a touchdown. How you doing, Big Nick? Good to see you. Daddy Dean in the house too. Jermaine, a couple of the latecomers. Just want to say hi to you all. V21, Mike Skalski, Brian's Brains. Love seeing you all in here trying to keep me sharpened. Donald Henry, how you doing, Donald? Let's see. Anybody else I left out? If not, if I did, you get a better welcome than everybody. CCRR, I see you. Sal, another Bills fan. And Eric Cooley. Oh, we got Eric Cooley's comment. That's cool. Anyway, everybody, donate to the channel. Join us, I believe. I don't know who's going tonight. It's Thursday night. We might get somebody to go tonight, but it's 7:00 over here. I've gone for 2 hours, and I appreciate every one of you hanging with me. Y'all have a great evening, and don't worry, we got this. Fins up.